business. And when I started as an engineer, and one of my old bosses is in the room tonight, just gave him a smile, and it was great because back in those days, this was 2005, we were in our mining boom, and as a graduate they had no choice but to give us great, big projects to do. Nowadays the graduates get to go and do a maintenance program, not get to build big stuff. And the flip side of that is when you got into it, that dork there's me by the way, when you get into a big project as a graduate, you think on the outside that it's going to be really great, but when you get into it, it's like, oh shit, I've got no experience and I've never done this before, and how on earth are we going to do it? So one of the projects I got given was to underground a big transmission line leading into Waikiki substation right down their main street. It's actually up the road from where that guy just purchased his lot. And it was a major daunting task for me, and I've never been that, I've got friends at uni and other graduates that I'd considered to be geniuses and able to do amazing designs. I'm not one of them. I've got different smarts, not genius smart. So what I did, instead of having experience and having geniusness to engineering, is I went and sat down with the oracle of designers, the old guy that had been doing engineering for 40 years, and picked his brain, and he was just happy that someone was actually asking for his input, and he spent 2 hours telling me how he would do the whole design, to which I was writing like copious notes and this is great stuff. And then I thought, who else can I ask how to do this? So I went out and met with the construction guys and asked them how would they go about it, and they were like, oh yeah, change that one out for a steel pole, and don't put this here, and you need extra span here, and they gave me so much advice that even the top designer would never have come up with. And then I thought, oh well, this seems to be working, I'll go and chat to the commissioning guys too and find out where they want their racks and how they suggest I design the protection system and whatever else I do. And so I just basically made the whole project as everyone wanted and lended off their experience. And when I got to the end of it, they were proclaiming me as a genius that had amazing engineering skills, and I did share the credit, but I also shared muffins and coffees and stuff with my construction teams, and that's what made them prioritise my work over the other graduates. And it actually taught me a huge amount of things, because I took from that if you go and ask people for help and find experts, then you don't even need the experience at all. And that has kind of been very humbling, and I've taken that through my investing and through my business, and continue to seek out other experts now and not try to be the best at everything myself. So that was like really key for me. And while I was at work engineering, I started investing too, and I was a project manager, and they thought that I was doing project management calls, but I was project managing my renovation. And this was my first little business plan. I called myself Mahon Investments. I don't think anyone's ever seen this when I was preparing it. This is in 2005. And what I did was, I was 22 at the time, so a good 11 years ago. I wrote this little business plan. This is for my very first deal. I wrote the business plan. I'd never bought a property before. I took my learnings from Rich Dad Poor Dad. I took my learnings from my engineering. I went out and built a team, so I knew that much. I assembled a team of experts. I got an accountant, a finance broker. I found a number of people that specialised in renovation, so I read all their books. And then I pulled all of that together and wrote this business plan, and I started dropping it off to my neighbours around my family home in the street. And one of them was like, wow, Jarrad, I'm going to back you in this. And I had a very clear plan, as you can see there in the contents, of who would do what, what's the objective, you know, the suburb we're going to buy in, the strategy, the profit share, who does what. I downloaded that just from the template from the internet. I went home and was so excited that I told my parents, wow, the guy up the road's willing to give me 100 grand. I'm going to buy this, I'm going to go and buy an investment property to renovate. And they were like, Jesus Christ, what are you doing? Show me this business plan. So I ended up showing them my plan, and they said, wow, you really have been using your time at Western Power productively. And they were like, well, if this guy up the road's prepared to give you 100,000, they'd never invested, they never knew anything. They read the plan, read the strategy, and decided to back me in that first deal too. So subsequently, since then, I've used much better plans, but I've always taken the approach of working with others to move forward, and it all starts with the plan and the strategy, because at the time I had no money, I had no experience still, but if you're very clear on your plan and your strategy, you can find it. So if you get the team, you get the strategy and the plan, then you can actually move forward past any obstacle. And since then I've done 9 joint ventures, and I continue to do it as a preferred way of managing my risk and being able to take on more projects. And obviously you've got to be very choosy in how you choose your joint venture partners, and I could run a whole seminar on joint venturing, but there's ways to move forward even if you think you can't. And I do prefer to invest by myself where I can, but I don't let it hold me back if I can't. So that leads me to one of our final offer tonight. I mentioned if you do like our approach and kind of see where we come at things from, I'm offering an obligation-free strategy session with one of our investment consultants. I'll always sit over the top of that strategy and very much make sure that we're getting the right overall strategy for you. We do a number of things with that session too. We take a look at what's going to be the most suitable property type for you and the timing. Even if now is not the time, I'm not suggesting that you rush out and buy a property tomorrow. I'm suggesting that you actually have a strategy and a plan for how you're going to do things, not like this, but a fancier version. And we'll go through all the ins and outs of how to add value to properties. We'll get you clear on your comfort zone and your goals, because the more you know yourself as an investor, the more you can sleep at night. The last thing we want you to do is buy a property and be so stressed out of your tree that you are calling me at 2 a.m.